YouTube was good. It's your boy Tyshawn Miller Films, man. We back at it with another fire reaction. Of course, we're gonna be reacting to shout out to Movie Guy Explains most terrifying horror movies of all time. So without further ado, let's dive right on in. Three, two, one, let's get it.
William Friedkin's 1973 masterpiece remains the
The
benchmark
Exorcist.
for possession horror that left audiences physically ill. When 12-year-old Reagan McNeil becomes possessed by the demon Pazuzu, her transformation created unprecedented terror in theaters. The film was produced on an $11 million budget and grossed $193 million in its original theatrical run, eventually reaching a lifetime worldwide gross of $441 million. What makes The Exorcist uniquely terrifying is the visceral physical reaction it provoked. Audiences didn't just watch in fear, they fainted and vomited during screenings. Several cities attempted to ban the film outright or prevent children from attending despite its R rating. The realistic medical procedures,
Yeah, because why would you have a child in the
shocking
theater?
desecration of religious imagery combined to create something audiences had never experienced. Warner Brothers employed four-wall distribution, the first time a major studio rented theaters and kept all ticket revenue. This became the first horror film ever nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture, winning Oscars for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Sound. The film's impact demonstrated that extreme horror content showing a child's
Hey, and you know what, man? I'm so glad that horror is starting to get more recognized at these award shows. Because, I mean, come on. Like, horror is just as important in the movie industry, in the film industry, as action movies, action comedies, dramas. You know, you got to throw horror in there, too.
demonic possession could achieve both critical acclaim and massive commercial success, while leaving lasting psychological trauma on viewers decades later. Hereditary. Ari Aster's 2018 directorial debut weaponizes family grief into
Now, here's my thing with Hereditary. It's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, I would definitely go watch it. Me personally, I'm not a fan of slow burn, slow burn horror. It's just not my thing. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on how it's done and how it's directed. Something like Skinamarink, which I completely hated. If you've seen that movie or if you even heard that movie, don't bother watching it. It's not good at all. But that's definitely a slow burn horror that I hate, absolutely hate. Especially now, if the ending is good, you know what I'm saying? Like most of the movie is like slow burn. Why can I not say that today? And then by the end of it, it grips you and you're like, okay, like it makes up for it. Then cool. But if not, it sucks. And I can't stand slow burn horror. But with Hereditary, it's a slow burn horror, but it you know, as you continue to watch the movie and you notice what's going on, and you start to see, you know, everything that's happening and it starts to be revealed, it's actually pretty good. So I would recommend Hereditary, absolutely.
the supernatural nightmare that traumatized modern audiences. Toni Collette delivers a soul-shattering performance as Annie Graham, the matriarch of a family haunted
It's a very
by dark
creepy
secrets
movie,
following her
yes.
mother's death. Produced
Very
on just
effective.
$10 million, the film grossed $82.8 million worldwide, becoming a 24's highest-grossing film at the time. What elevates Hereditary to genuinely terrifying status is how it fuses psychological trauma with demonic horror. The film centers on the Demon King Paimon from occult texts like the Lesser Key of Solomon,
And I
who
think,
commands
honestly,
200
I would
legions
take
of
this
spirits.
over
Unlike typical horror
Midsommar.
films relying on jump scares, Hereditary
Midsommar
builds
was okay,
suffocating dread
but
through
it
devastating
it
emotional
was
moments
all
and
right.
shocking violence.
But
The
I think I
infamous dinner table
would watch.
confrontation where
I'd
Annie
rather
admits
watch
she tried to
Hereditary
cause a
more.
miscarriage creates unbearable tension before supernatural elements even appear. The film's midpoint trauma left audiences devastated in ways few modern horror films achieve. Critics awarded it a 90% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes and an 87 on Metacritic. The terror comes from watching a family's grief literally transform into demonic possession, forcing viewers to experience both psychological breakdown and supernatural evil simultaneously without relief. Sinister. Science confirmed Scott Derrickson's 2012 Nightmare as the scariest movie ever made through measurable terror. A 2020 study by Broadband Choices, monitoring viewers' heart rates, declared Sinister the most frightening film based on physiological responses. Participants' heart rates jumped from an average resting rate of 65 beats per minute to 86 beats per minute while watching.
This is definitely a movie you would have to watch, like, in the dark with the lights off.
Heart rate spiked to 131 beats per minute. Ethan Hawke stars as true crime writer Ellison Oswald, who discovers a box of Super 8
who gave
snuff
an
films
amazing
in his attic,
performance,
each
by the
depicting
way.
families murdered by their possessed children. The pagan deity Bagul lives in images, and viewing the films creates a gateway allowing him to possess children to slaughter their families. What makes Sinister unbearably terrifying is how it turns watching into a curse. The grainy Super 8 footage feels voyeuristic and real, forcing viewers to become complicit in watching genuine murder footage. Writer C. Robert Cargill conceived the story after a nightmare following The Ring. The Super 8 segments were shot on actual Super 8 film stock for authenticity. Produced on just $3 million, the film grossed $87.7 million globally, proving that methodical atmospheric dread creates more lasting terror than jump scares. The Strangers. Brian Bertino's 2008 home invasion masterpiece strips away every assumption about safety with motiveless violence. Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman play a couple terrorized at a remote vacation home by 3 masked intruders who psychologically torture them before inevitable slaughter. When the victims desperately ask why this is happening,
it's always scarier when there's no motive.
Because you were home. This single line encapsulates the film's core terror, the absolute randomness of violence that could victimize anyone, anywhere. Inspired by the Manson family tape murders and break-ins from Bertino's childhood, the film was produced on $9 million and grossed $83 million worldwide. The 3 attackers, Man in the Mask, Dollface, and Pinup Girl, methodically...
Now, I enjoy the OG Strangers, but I would say my personal favorite is Prey at Night. I love Strangers Prey at Night. Even though I hated that the mom died in that movie because she was so fine. She was beautiful. But yeah, just the overall aesthetic and especially the pool scene is my favorite scene out of the whole movie. But Strangers Prey at Night to me is a little bit better than the OG Strangers. I only seen the first one of this new trilogy. I don't really care on watching chapter 2 or 3. I just not into it. I mean, the first one was literally just a remake of the OG one. So yeah, but it's definitely something weird and creepy about people just going around killing with no rhyme or reason, no motive. That's really scary, and they're doing it because you're home. That's the only explanation they give you, is because you're home. That, you got to know how scary that is, being tied up to a chair. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Stalk and torment their victims throughout the night. What makes The Strangers uniquely terrifying is its grounding in reality. There are no supernatural elements, no curse to break, no way to rationalize or prevent what's happening. The film was shot entirely with handheld cameras and Steadicams, creating documentary-style realism. Film scholars interpret it as a meditation on post-9/11 random violence and the vulnerability everyone feels when alone. The ending compounds the horror when the killers encounter Mormon missionaries and Pinup Girl casually states, "It will be easier next time," revealing this wasn't personal vengeance, but practice for future killings. The Ring. Gore Verbinski's 2002 remake delivered inescapable countdown
I wasn't a big
horror
Ring
that dominated
fan.
American theaters. Naomi Watts stars
I
as
feel
journalist Rachel Keller,
I feel like it's
investigating a
underrated
cursed
to me.
VHS tape
I mean,
that
not
kills
underrated,
viewers exactly
overrated.
7 days after watching.
Yeah, I just
The phone rings
I just
immediately
wasn't
after
a
the
big
tape
Ring
ends.
fan.
A child's voice informing the viewer of their approaching death. The ghost of Samara Morgan, a girl thrown down a well by her
It just wasn't
adoptive
scary
mother,
to me.
emerges from television screens to kill victims in terrifying fashion. Produced on $48 million, the film grossed $249.3 million worldwide. What makes The Ring so effective is the relentless dread of knowing death approaches with mathematical certainty. From the moment Rachel watches the tape, viewers experience sustained anxiety counting down the days. The cursed videotape itself contains nightmarish, surreal imagery that lodges in memory, distorted faces, and horses leaping from cliffs. Verbinski crafted an oppressive atmosphere where every shadow could contain Samara's presence. The film won Saturn Awards for Best Horror Film and Best Actress, launched a wave of American remakes of Asian horror, and ranked number 20 on Bravo's list of the 100 scariest movie moments. Its lasting terror comes from transforming the passive act of watching media into something that guarantees death within 1 week. The Babadook. Jennifer Kent's 2014 Australian psychological horror manifests grief
that
as
little
an
boy in
unkillable
this
monster
movie
that feeds on
annoyed
suppressed trauma.
the
Essie
fuck
Davis
out of
delivers
me.
a devastating performance as
I
Amelia,
wanted
a
to
widowed mother whose husband
choke his
Oscar
little
died in a
ass.
car accident while driving her to the hospital.
Especially when
during
he
their
started
son Samuel's
screaming
birth
and
6
yelling
years
and
earlier.
shit.
When a mysterious pop-up book titled Mr. Babadook appears depicting a tall, pale figure in a top hat with taloned fingers, the creature manifests and grows stronger as Amelia tries suppressing her trauma and resentment towards Samuel. The film premiered
But it was
at
still a
Sundance
pretty
and
good
earned
movie.
98% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, ranked as the 5th best horror film of all time on the site. William Friedkin, who directed The Exorcist, called it the most terrifying film he had ever seen. The genius of the Babadook
I wouldn't
lies
say
in its
all that.
refusal
I
to
mean,
provide
I've
easy
seen a lot more
resolution. The
terrifying
ending shows the
movies,
monster
but
contained in the basement but not destroyed, fed regularly like a pet. This represents how grief and trauma cannot be eliminated but only managed through acknowledgement rather than denial. What makes this uniquely terrifying is the universality of the monster. Everyone understands the weight of unprocessed loss that grows more powerful when suppressed, threatening to destroy families from within through accumulated resentment and rage. It Follows. David Robert Mitchell's 2015 film weaponizes paranoia
It Follows
through a
was
sexually
really
transmitted
good.
supernatural curse that never stops hunting. Micah Monroe stars as Jay.
Now that's something that's scary. You know what I'm saying? Something you can see but nobody else can, and it just never stops coming after you unless you end up passing on the, I guess you can say, curse to someone else. You know what I'm saying? And even if it kills that person that you passed it along to, it'll come right back to you. So it's like it's never ending. That's scary. That's creepy to know that this force that only you can see is coming after you, and it can take the form of, any person, somebody you know, somebody you don't know, just following you randomly everywhere you go, and it's never gonna stop. Like, that shit is scary.
Jay, a teenager who becomes the target of a shape-shifting entity passed through sexual contact. The creature can appear as anyone, including dead people, and walks slowly but relentlessly toward its victims, never stopping, never sleeping. If it kills the current victim, it returns to hunt previous victims in the chain.
Yep.
What makes It Follows brilliantly terrifying is how it transforms every background character into potential threat. The entity moves at walking
What would be
speed,
even
which
more
somehow proves more
scarier
frightening
is
than
if it
fast
could
monsters,
actually
because
run.
the threat is constant and inescapable.
Instead of
Shot in
walking
Detroit
slowly,
suburbs on a
if it can
$1.3 million
run,
budget, the film grossed
just like a
$23.3 million
normal
worldwide.
human
The
person.
deliberately ambiguous 1980s aesthetic and Disaster Piece's synth score create an atmosphere of timeless dread. Every scene forces viewers to scan backgrounds, checking for the slow walking figure. The film works as both straightforward monster horror and metaphor for sexually transmitted disease anxiety, adding layers of discomfort about intimacy and consequence. The sustained paranoia it creates, that sense of always needing to check your surroundings for approaching danger, represents a unique achievement in creating lasting psychological unease. If you're enjoying this, I make videos like this all the time. A subscription would really help out. The Shining. Stanley Kubrick's 1980 adaptation transformed
Classic.
isolated winter horror into a masterpiece of psychological terror and domestic violence. Jack Nicholson stars as Jack Torrance, a recovering alcoholic who accepts a job as winter caretaker of the Overlook
Decaloran.
Hotel in Colorado with his wife Wendy and psychic son Danny. As snow cuts
Yeah,
them
that
off
man
from
Stephen
civilization,
King was,
Jack descends into homicidal insanity, influenced by
putting
the
out some
hotel's
hits,
malevolent
man.
supernatural presence. The film's terror comes from Kubrick's perfectionism, creating genuinely disturbing imagery. The elevator cascading blood, young Danny riding his tricycle through endless hallways encountering the murdered Grimes twins, the rotting woman in room 237, and Nicholson's iconic "Here's Johnny" moment as he chops through a bathroom door have become permanently embedded in horror history. Kubrick subjected Shelley
Absolutely.
Duvall to grueling shoots, requiring some scenes to be filmed 127 times, and this real suffering adds unsettling authenticity to her terror. The Steadicam work, pioneered by Garrett Brown following Danny's tricycle, created fluid movements that make the hotel feel alive and predatory. What makes The Shining enduringly terrifying is its ambiguity about whether the hotel is truly haunted or whether Jack's pre-existing madness simply needed isolation to fully emerge, making every supernatural element potentially a manifestation of psychosis rather than confirmed ghost. Rosemary's Baby. Roman Polanski's 1968 masterpiece pioneered paranoid horror where systematic gaslighting
I never really
becomes
cared for
more
Rosemary's
terrifying than
Baby
demonic
either.
forces. Mia Farrow stars as
Sorry.
Rosemary Woodhouse, who moves into a Manhattan apartment building with her actor husband Guy. Their elderly neighbors, the Castavets, lead a satanic coven that drugs Rosemary and orchestrates her assault by Satan to conceive his child. What makes Rosemary's Baby genuinely terrifying is its sustained psychological torture through isolation. Everyone dismisses Rosemary's fears and physical suffering as hysteria. Her husband,
Yeah, 'cause
her
they
doctor,
in on it.
even her friends all participate in convincing her she's imagining the conspiracy. The film was shot at the Dakota apartment building in New York, and Ruth Gordon won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for her performance as Minnie Castavet. The genius lies in how Polanski maintains ambiguity about whether the conspiracy is real or whether Rosemary is experiencing a mental breakdown. This uncertainty compounds the horror because no interpretation provides comfort. The film weaponizes pregnancy anxiety and medical dismissal of women's concerns in ways that remain disturbingly relevant. Its influence on religious horror cannot be overstated, paving the way for The Exorcist and an entire subgenre of demonic childbirth terror, while demonstrating that paranoia and gaslighting create profound psychological horror. Texas Chainsaw. Tobe Hooper's 1974 film achieved unprecedented brutality through its raw documentary aesthetic that made audiences believe they witnessed something real. A group of friends traveling...
Yo, speaking of Texas Chainsaw, have y'all seen, I'm pretty sure by now you've seen it, like the most, well, it came out a couple of years ago, the Netflix one, and is it just me or do y'all hate how they did Sally Hardesty in that movie? I mean, they shouldn't have even brought her back. Like, it was so stupid. But yeah, the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this is something else that's just like really creepy and eerie. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta wonder what goes through the mind of these people. Like, what makes them just want to kill innocent people that just coming through Texas? You know what I'm saying? Like, what makes you just want to kill random people for no reason? You know, it's crazy. I swear. And
traveling through rural Texas encounter the cannibalistic Sawyer family, including Leatherface, who wears masks made from victims' faces and wields his signature weapon. Despite its reputation, the film contains minimal actual gore, with violence mostly implied rather than explicitly shown. Shot during the oppressive Texas summer heat on a budget of $300,000, it grossed between $30 and $40 million domestically, while being banned in several countries. What makes the Texas Chainsaw Massacre unbearably terrifying is how authentic it feels. The grainy 16mm film stock, the use of actual animal bones and rotting meat for set decoration, and the documentary-style camera work create the illusion of watching something illegal and real. Hooper drew inspiration from serial killer Ed Gein, who wore masks made from human skin. The film's depiction of rural American Gothic horror, the nightmare hiding in forgotten corners of the country, influenced decades of subsequent horror cinema. The suffocating heat captured on film adds to the discomfort, making viewers feel trapped alongside the characters in an inescapable nightmare of human depravity. Audition. Takashi Miike's 1999 Japanese psychological horror delivers one of cinema's
I've never
most
seen this
disturbing
movie.
descents into torture that traumatized international
I've seen a lot
audiences.
about it, but I've
A
never
widowed film
actually
producer
watched
named
it.
Aoyama holds fake auditions to find a new wife, becoming infatuated with the mysterious Asami. What begins as uncomfortable romance transforms into nightmarish revelation when Asami's past and true nature emerge. The film's infamous final act features extended torture sequences involving wire saws and needles that became legendary legendary for making viewers physically ill and walk out of theaters. What makes Audition
Damn.
uniquely terrifying is Miike's deliberate pacing. The first hour plays as slow, romantic drama, lulling viewers into false security before unleashing sustained horror in the final 30 minutes. The sudden tonal shift from quiet character study to extreme torture creates disorienting psychological impact. Asami's backstory, revealed through fragmented flashbacks, shows her transformation from abuse victim to predator. The line "kitty kitty kitty" as she tortures Aoyama with wire became infamous in horror circles. The film explores themes of male entitlement and female revenge while delivering visceral terror through extended sequences of realistic torture. Its lasting impact comes from the jarring contrast between the mundane
I'd be like, man,
setup
I'm a
and
good
the
guy. Why
extreme
you
violence that
torturing me?
follows, leaving viewers psychologically unprepared for what they witness. Possession. Andrzej Zulawski's 1981 psychological horror remains one of cinema's most disturbing
I've never seen
explorations
this
of
either.
divorce, transformed into literal body horror. Isabel Adjani and Sam Neill star as a couple whose marriage disintegrates in West Berlin during the Cold War. As their relationship collapses, Adjani's character Anna becomes increasingly unhinged, eventually revealed to be having an affair with a tentacled creature she's nurturing in an apartment. What makes Possession genuinely terrifying is how it
Wait, what?
literalizes emotional destruction as physical horror. Adjani delivers one of cinema's most intense performances, winning Best Actress at Cannes for her portrayal of psychological breakdown, manifesting as violent fits and inhuman behavior. The infamous subway scene, where Anna suffers a miscarriage while shrieking and convulsing, remains one of horror's most disturbing sequences. The creature effects combine imagery with grotesque body horror, representing the violent transformation of love into something
What
monstrous.
the hell?
Zulawski directed the film while experiencing his own painful divorce, channeling genuine anguish into surreal nightmare. The film was banned in several countries and heavily censored upon release. Its lasting terror comes from treating the death of a relationship as body horror, showing emotional trauma literally creating monsters while destroying both partners psychologically and physically. Funny Games. Michael Haneke's 1997 Austrian film weaponizes audience expectations to create meta-horror that implicates viewers in violence. A family vacationing at their lake house is taken hostage by two polite young men in white gloves.
I've seen the
who torture them through
remake of
sadistic
this.
games for 12 hours. What makes Funny Games uniquely terrifying is how Haneke deconstructs horror conventions while forcing viewers to confront their complicity in consuming violent entertainment. The film features minimal actual violence shown on screen, but the sustained psychological torture proves more disturbing than graphic content. One of the tormentors periodically breaks the fourth wall, directly addressing the audience and acknowledging their expectations.
I love
for
that in
violence.
movies.
In the film's most
Breaking the
shocking
fourth
moment,
wall.
when the family seems to gain advantage, one torturer literally rewinds the film with a remote control to undo their victory. This metafictional element creates profound unease by revealing the audience's powerlessness and complicity. Haneke shot an exact English-language remake in 2007 starring Naomi Watts and Tim Roth. The Austrian original remains more disturbing due to its clinical approach to depicting home invasion without cathartic resolution. The film's lasting terror comes from forcing viewers to recognize their role in demanding and consuming violence for entertainment, while offering no comfort or escape from the nightmare it presents. If this was worth your time, consider subscribing so...
Hey man, another great video from Movie Guy Explains. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, some of these weren't really all that terrifying. I mean, I could think of like a lot more movies that were more terrifying, like the original Candyman, A Nightmare on Elm Street. These are movies that like literally terrified me as a child. Like Candyman, to this day, I will not say that shit in the mirror. And you are dumb as hell if you do. I mean, even though I know it's a movie, you know, that movie terrified the black community for years. And like I said, to this day, it still scares me. I mean, not as much as when I was a kid, but you know, it's still a very creepy and unsettling film. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoy making these reactions. Rate, comment, subscribe. See you on my next reaction. And as always,
I'll be right back.